Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. It's your boy Jay here, and now that the dust has settled on Title Update 4, I just wanted to sit here and talk about it a little bit now that I've done, I think, every piece of content that came with it, which includes a number of surprises. Not the type of surprise that I was really looking for, but surprises nonetheless. So Title Update 4, on paper, looks like a small update. Looks like, oh, we ain't getting nothing, and Velkhana, we just got Velkhana, blah 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 blah. But when the patch actually hits and you really dive in and see what all is here for you, the patch is it's quite a bit bigger than expected. So I just wanted to kind of put a little review out there and talk about how I feel about Title Update 4, and yeah, so throughout this video, you'll be seeing clips of my Title Update 4 exploits, which, I mean, it's there for you to watch if you'd like to see, but it's not really required for today's video. You could just kind of slam headphones in and maybe listen to it. The visual stimulation's not really all that necessary. But with that out of the way, let's begin. So yeah, when we got the event that revealed what was coming in Title Update 4, my worries kind of came true, right? I made a video talking about how I'm kind of worried for how the player base in general is going to feel about Title Update 4, if it's just going to be, you know, Velkhana and like one other monster, right? And I did mention that I want there to be some kind of surprise in the patch, like a surprise monster a la Basil Goose back in Base Rise, right? So we didn't quite get Basil Goose, but we did get I guess what the community is calling EX Risen Elder Dragons, right? Which is Risen Elder Dragons, which were already kind of tough fights in the game, but they all got buffed, right? And you unlock those after you get to like anomaly level 211 or something like that. So you really have to be kind of deep in the grind to access that content, but you know, that's your reward for getting in there. You know, they're rewarding the people who play the game the most. Like, yo, okay, you guys are playing the game a hell of a lot. Here are these new, you know, these new surprises. Here are these new moves on these Risen Elder Dragons. And some of those fights are quite tough, man. I do have videos on the channel of me hunting each one of those. And you see, you know, I get my face kicked in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, and we like punishment. And then along with that, we did get another surprise in Hazard Lucent Naga Cougar, right? Which is a Lucent Naga Cougar that's kind of in the same vein as the EX Risen Elders. Got the moveset kind of changed up a little bit to keep us on our toes, and you know, the values are a little bit, it's almost like an event quest, but like not, you know what I mean? So we did get that as well. So that on top of, you know, Velkhana coming through and Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax coming through, kind of provides some depth to this patch, right? So like on paper, yeah, it's just Velkhana and Risen Valstrax, which does not sound like a lot, but there are plenty of surprises for you to dive into and enjoy hunting throughout this, you know. And then also that's, you know, to talk about the changes to curious weapon crafting. They kind of help close the gap between Blade Masters and Gunner a little bit, right? Like Gunner is still ahead, like Gunner weapons are still crazy, but with the curious weapon crafting, as you unlock more and more slots to put more stats on your weapon, just unlocking the slots gives you even more boosts. So it's like, yo, this is kind of big, right? So certain builds and certain play styles are going to be a bit more viable now than they were before, right? Which is, you know, a nice healthy chunk of content to bite into, to, you know, really mess around. You know, I made that the egg hammer build, right? I brought it back, even though this patch is, you know, a win for elemental. I was able to squeeze a lot more raw onto that hammer because of the way curious weapon crafting was tweaked, which, you know, makes me want to revisit some of the older stuff that I've put together, because now we have even more stats, even more bonuses, which is dope, which is really dope, just, you know, by simply changing one little thing in how curious crafting works. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, like I said, small on paper, but like there's a lot of little stuff on the back end that's like, wait a minute, this is like quite a lot of content, you know what I mean? This is enough to to really chew on, to really like work through. Now I want to curious weapon craft my weapons even more, because I'm gonna get even more bonuses out of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, I mean, I really got to get on the anomaly grind again and get all these pieces and, you know, all that. Even though the anomaly cap didn't get raised by a lot, right? We went from 200 to 220, and we got all these changes in such a small gap, which is interesting to think about, because like, okay, what's title update 5 gonna have? Are we gonna go from 220 to 300? Are we gonna go from 220 to 250? Either way, we're gonna get more bonuses, maybe more slots, maybe more you know, possible stat cap increases, and it gets us even stronger. So it's like, yo, this is crazy, and it makes you want to revisit some of the older stuff that you've put together and say, okay, how can I improve this even further, much like how I did with my egg hammer build. So yeah, that is a lot. I mean, yeah, it does require, you know, quite a bit of grinding, you know, and if you've fallen behind in some of the previous patches, you're gonna feel maybe even a little bit overwhelmed, like, golly, the grind is so deep. But hey, that's what we were all complaining about in base Rise. There's no end game, there's no grind, there's no end game, there's no grind. Here's the grind. Now get to work, and the rewards for getting to work can get really, really crazy, because, you know, along with the curious weapon crafting, we got 2 new armor sets that come with Velkhana and Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax. The Velkhana armor set is pretty good. It's got Frostcraft, good for longsword, good for greatsword, which is, you know, fun. They're fun playstyles, but the real star of the show is the Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, and a single skill, Dragon Conversion. Oh my lord, this skill takes elemental builds and cranks them up to 13 out of 10. Like, elemental is way ahead of raw as a playstyle right now. Like, it's not even close. There are clips in the background here that you're gonna see where I got dual blades on, and just absolute insane numbers due to dragon conversion and the way it works and how you can stack on even more elemental attack, right? So it's going nuts, right? And I'm happy for elemental, you know, elemental players, you know, people who have been crafting one elemental type for each weapon get massively rewarded by this patch, just because of the way Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax works. And yeah, so that gets me very interested in the future. Maybe Title Update 5 will be a bit of a raw patch, so we can you know, push the limits further and further. And also, what the heck is coming in Title 5 that justifies this much of a power leap, right? Like, they gave us these tools, and they're gonna expect us to, you know, kind of be specced out for these tools, right? Much like how, you know, Alatreon and Fatalis, it's like, yo, if you ain't augmented up, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, the game kind of expected you to have a certain amount of stuff unlocked and, you know, used and slotted in, so that when you go fight those monsters, you stand a chance. This begs the question, like, what is coming in Title Update 5 that requires this much power? Like, oh my goodness. And just thinking about that just makes me a little scared, but also like hype as well, right? Like, I'm ready to get my teeth kicked in, and I'm ready to sink my teeth into whatever Title Update 5 brings us. And maybe Title Update 5, if it is the last one, will be a bigger patch. And what I mean by that is more things to hunt, like, outright. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, are we gonna get Risen Velkhana? Are we gonna get Risen Shagaru? Are we gonna get a buffed Malzeno? Amatsu is being speculated. I see people talking about Nergigante. So there's a lot going on that could possibly show up. And then, of course, the anomaly cap going up. And then, are we gonna get EX Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax? Good lord, that is a mouthful. But are we gonna get that along with the other EX Risens? Like, there's a lot of stuff that could show up. This patch could be pretty big. I'm talking 4 or 5 monsters big, and you know, add a lot more content onto this game as far as armor sets, weapons, and then with curious crafting expanding. It looks like it's gonna get pretty wacky out here, and maybe there's a Title Update 6. Don't know. Maybe there's a surprise Title Update 6, and they hit us with something crazy, because, you know, this is the only game without a black dragon in it. So what if they drop a white Fatalis on us in Title Update 6 or something? Like, yo, it could go crazy. It could go crazy. So yes, I am very happy that Title Update 4 turned out the way it did. it looks like it was small on paper, and in that little lead up to the patch actually releasing, after they showed us the event of what's coming, it was kind of like, oh, this patch is gonna suck. Oh my god, there's nothing in it. But now that it's out and it's here, those guys are real quiet. Why? Because our heads down and we're grinding out this new content, squeezing all the juice out of these builds and getting stronger and stronger for the next patch to come. So yes, suffice to say, I enjoyed Title Update 4. I'm still playing through it. I'm hitting the event quests every week, so definitely subscribe down below so that you can watch me take on these event quests. And of course, I'll bring interesting sets of armor and interesting concepts to the event quests. And yeah, I'm really liking Title Update 4. I'm enjoying it. And I'm really looking forward to what Title Update 5 will bring. I think we'll get news of that maybe here in like 2 weeks, since it's coming in April. And yeah, I'll cover that too when that hits. And yeah, people, as always, happy hunting. Peace.